Hi, how you doing? Where Frankie T is going to take you on this journey is the life cycle of the plant. You say, the plant? What kind of plant? What are you talking about? The plant. What's the plant? The plant that I'm talking about is the marijuana plant. You've heard of marijuana, right? Okay, the weed plant. The cannabis plant, which is a current name, but it's had a plethora of names over the years. We've called it reefer, we've called it grass, we've called it bush, we've called it hemp, we've called it Mary Jane. Who knows what it'll be called even going forward. The current popular name is cannabis. So we're going to talk about the cannabis plant from the seed to the smoke, from the womb to the tomb. We're going to go through the entire cycle of the cannabis plant. And even with the seed, we're not going to stop there. We're going to show you how it propagates and how it even continues, how that genetic could be cloned to continue the genetic, or could even have a new seed to continue life. Because no matter what, as we all know, life continues. Life never slows down. So let's take a look at the seed. Here's a little packet of seeds that I bought, really cheap, out the door after all of the taxes put on it, $90. 6 seeds for $90. Can you imagine that? Back in the 70s, when weed came with seeds, we would roll the seeds off and throw them away. The seeds were a penny in the neck. Now you got to pay $90 for the seeds, but it's worth every penny. Because back then, those seeds, 50-50, 50% male, 50% female, where the science evolved, the knowledge evolved, where people want only the female plant, because the female plant is the one with the psychoactive property, the THC, the tetrahydrocannabinol. The THC is a part that gives you the desired effect. And you grow it right, you cultivate it right, the desired effect is what you get. So now, these seeds have been feminized. So there's a process that we may discuss in later lessons. This is totally unscripted. So if we do discuss it, we do. If we don't, loose booty. But what happens is they feminize the seeds where they're guaranteed that the seed will give you a female plant. So I take that seed and I put the seed in water, take a shot glass, fill it with water, put the seed, soak it overnight, or I will take the seed and put it between a couple of paper towels. And after it soaks overnight, then eventually what's called the tap root, a little root will stick out of the seed. Once I have the tap root, now I take the seed and I put the seed inside of a flower pot and bam, the plant begins to grow. Or I put it in a larger pot. All of these are from seeds. As a matter of fact, these 4 mid-sized pots here, these are from that package that you saw that I paid $90 for. This little one was a clone, and we'll discuss cloning and the like. Some of you old-time gardeners used to even call it a cutting. Now it's a clone. The clone of Dr. Frankie T. The clone that I got from a buddy of mine up in Mendocino County in Northern California, one of the 3 counties in what they call the Emerald Triangle, Humboldt County, Trinity County, Mendocino County, where 95% of the cannabis, the marijuana, the grass, the weed, the reefer, the Mary Jane, call it what you like, 95% of the cannabis for the United States is grown in that Emerald Triangle. So I went to a farm, visited a friend, and I got some plants last year. Of the plants, one became a hermaphrodite. They're all females, but one of the plants actually developed male properties, and it pleasured itself, if you will. Somebody told that plant, go yourself, and you know what it did? Because it actually fertilized after going through the process that you'll see in later lessons of drying and curing and the like. When I sat down to roll the fat one, there was a seed in it. So I took the seed and now I planted it so that genetic may continue. But there's still a 50-50 chance that if it's a male, the fella's got to go, because we only want the babes. We only want the woman, because it's the female plant, as I mentioned, that has the psychoactive property, or a lot of the psychoactive property, to give that euphoric effect that consuming it does. And we'll discuss why the female does it and how the female does it. I'm sure that that's one thing that I will discuss, because the females know how to do it, trust me. Now, these two that you see here, let's get these out of the way. These two plants, these are clones that I bought in the same store where I bought the seeds. Now these clones, what they've done is they took a cutting and just put a little solution on the bottom and got it to root. And these are two clone plants that were developed. And I'll discuss the strain and the type in later lessons. The difference between starting from a seed and starting from a clone is that when you start from the seed, you get what they call the taproot. And that's the root that grows down into the ground, and then satelliting out of it are the other roots that are going to feed the plant. But the taproot is like the main stem, the main trunk, but underground, the root. It grows straight down. When you clone, you don't have a taproot. So when you clone, you just have the roots that spread out. And it's one of the few nuanced differences between the two. So this is a good lesson in how the plant is going to vary from the clone versus those growing from the seed. Now what I've also done, and I'll show it later on, possibly a future lesson, I planted one of the seeds directly in the ground. Eventually all of this will go in the ground because I'm an outdoor farmer. I'm an outdoor cultivator. I'm a gardener. I'm the horticulturist. I am the plant growing, cannabis, weed growing Frankie T. But what'll happen? I'm gonna show you, and we're gonna test to see the difference between starting in these flower pots versus starting in the ground. And also the amount of light that the plant is exposed to determines the life cycle of the plant. And we'll discuss lighting and the like. But at nighttime, I bring these in and put them under a fluorescent light in order to fool the plant, to play God, to fool Mother Nature, to think that the days are long. Now, come Mother's Day, which will be next month, all of the plants go into the ground because now the days are long enough. You have way over 12 hours of daylight to now start the true vegetation or growth process of the plant. You saw the seed. You saw the seed soaking. So really from the embryonic stage to that fetal stage to the almost born stage. It's coming out of the ground. Because remember, it roots, it grows in darkness. But then what's in the dark comes to light. So life starts out in darkness. Virtually all life. Think about conception. Even if you don't turn the lights out, that human seed, that human egg, is fertilized inside the body in the dark. It's in that belly in the dark. But then it comes to light. This plant is coming to light. And then it gets to the point of these guys, where now these are babies growing. These are toddlers. And you'll see we're going to go into the teenage stage, the vegetation stage, the young adult stage. And then as the days grow shorter, as there's less light in the photosynthesis stage, the plant now is going to the maturity stage. And that's where it's going to develop its gender. And that's where now, because it's only females, they're going to grow their buds. And those buds are going to get bigger and bigger and juicier and juicier. Because what's happening, the female is going to want to attract the male. But there are no males. So now they're competing against each other in hoping that maybe a male will be there, maybe a bird, maybe a bee, maybe a fly, maybe the wind will blow the pollen from the male to fertilize them, because life wants to continue. So the female is saying, hey, let me get bigger and develop my femaleness, my sexiness to attract the male. But that femaleness, that sexiness, is the resin which contains the THC, which is the psychoactive property of the plant. Later on, I'll show you the one growing in the yard, and we'll see if Mother Nature is working well, if it's coming out of the yard. Now, the difference from starting in the yard and these, as I mentioned, these guys come inside at night and go under the lights. The one down there, we're just depending on how Mother Nature gives the light. But I've heard with the taproot, starting from a seed, that it won't mature too quick, even with the limited amount of light that you have in the springtime. And right now, today is April the 11th. So this is the springtime, that the days are getting longer, but not as long as the days are going to become Mother's Day. So this is part one, lesson one. What we've done here is we started out. This is the inaugural lesson. In essence, we broke the ice. We popped the cherry. And we're going to go into future lessons, and you'll see, in the end, from seed to smoke, seed to consumption, because I guarantee you, in the end, the desired effect is what you'll get.